Okay, looks like we're all here. So it's 6 o'clock, 6:01. We're going to start our town hall. I first want to say thank you, everybody who showed up in person. Thank you, everybody online as well. It shows that you care about your community. That's good. We'd like to see that. We care a lot too. So we want to make sure you guys are here. So this is August 2026. It's supposed to be summer, getting cooler, but not yet. So we're going to start with our warm welcome and introductions, and then we're going to start with, it's called Behind the Place, which has to do with operations, life in the park, and around the park, which is your events and engagement. And then Brookfield team is going to give us a great update, and then we'll do questions and answers at the end. Okay. So let's move along. Here we go. This is your board of directors. AJ Zorn, who is also a resident. Senior Director of Land and the board president. Allison Grotzinger on the end there is our marketing manager and vice president and treasurer. And then Michael Lobo is our project manager and secretary. So these are us, some of us that are here. I'm your executive director, Colleen Thomas. Paul is in the back with the headphones on. That's our director of community engagement. Angie is right here. She's your community director of community operations. And John LaRoque's not here because we make him get up real early every day, but he's in charge of asset management. And Danny is here, who is our lifestyle manager. And she's going to give me a lot of information later too. So behind the place. I would like to tell you guys what we've done around the community because you don't always get to see it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's probably better, right?
Well, don't touch it.
Yeah. If we don't move enough, they go off. So that's conserving
To
energy.
repeat for the people online, we just lost the lights in this room.
On purpose, on purpose. So recently completed items, if you've been over to the Union Park Food Truck Park, you'll see that we put down a new space for eating with umbrellas and picnic tables, and it turned out really nice. Yeah, we liked how that looked. It's behind us. It's a Union Park Park. It's actually over if you just go up Colton Bluff here a little bit to the next road and make a right, there's a big park over there, and there's 5 food trucks, and we recently put in a new spot for picnic tables and umbrellas, and it turned out really nice. You got to go see it. It's cute. No, sir. Mm-mm. That's a separate entity completely.
Yeah.
And then we also have a new dog park at Pilot Park. If you guys happen to live over there or you want to go visit, it's a good place. Currently underway, actually they started today. Our bocce ball court, which I don't know if you know, we had one. I didn't know for the longest time. There's one, it's over on this side and it just wasn't being used. And so we are redoing it. Instead of the clay, it's going to be more of a golf turf, which should be really cool. You could actually go out there with a little putter too if you wanted to make yourself get one of those little holes or whatever. Yeah, right over here. So that'll be a fun little space to go play bocce. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then there's a small area when you walk out straight to the pool and you go straight ahead, there's like a down area, and there's a triangle shape of DG, decomposed granite, or what do they call that? Just rock. So we thought, well, that's not being used for anything, so we don't want to just look at rock. So we're just going to change that to the golf surface as well. Then you can put chairs over there and we can spread out a little bit more. Okay. Then we have let's see, a new dog park in Union Park West. This one is going to stay open for quite a while, but we have a new one going in over there. A second pickleball court, because we know we like pickleball, and additional community bulletin boards are going out around the community. It's like triple the amount. So you guys will have the information out there. Well, you're just going to have to go find it. You got to do more exploring. Well, you talk to me later. I'll show you where they are. And then what we're working through right now, we've been working that darn splash pad. Mm. Believe me, I know you guys are frustrated with it, and so are we. We actually got a team to come in and just top to bottom. They drained out the cistern, this big tank that holds water for the splash pad. It's very intricate. It's if the water's not high enough, the prime won't hold, and the pumps won't run, and the sprinklers won't sprinkle. And we kept losing that prime, so they finally just said, let's just get down to the bottom of it. We got a group that's gone down below the cistern, changed out what's called a foot valve, looked for leaks in the pipes underground. They're checking for leaks in the big tank this week. And then once they get that done, they're going to fill it back up with water, turn it on, and see if the pumps are now strong enough. If they're not, we may have to adjust those to pull that water up and keep it going. So soon, it will be done soon. And when it's done, it'll be done right. I appreciate you guys' patience on that one. Future projects, Bumblebee Park has a pavilion area, and we went out and looked at that, and it's looking pretty rough. So we're getting some prices, and we're changing that out. It'll look nice. And then there's some benches over at, the Great Lawn, the Experience Park over here by the big tree where a Christmas tree usually goes. There's some benches there, and the wood's getting kind of beat up. So we're changing that out, and we're making that like a concrete top, and it's real pretty. It's gonna be really pretty. I think you guys like it. So next page. And I believe now we're going to go to some of Danny's stuff. Next page, please. My driver.
Can you go back
There you
one?
go.
So life in the park.
Yeah, life in the park.
There we go. Yes. And so I'm Danny Cerrone. I'm y'all's community engagement manager here. So I work with our community clubs on site, our events and programming, and also reservations management for those of you who want to plan your private parties in our amenity spaces. I'm sorry about the screen. I know it's kind of giving in and out. If you want to follow along, there is the screen to your right, or we also have, especially for my portion, the event calendar on Enumerate Engage that you can reference for any of these dates that I'll mention. So no need to memorize them or write them down. But I am here to give you a little preview of what life in the park looks and feels like here for you Eastonites. So it's all about finding your people, finding your place and space. And that is my main goal and objective in being here with y'all. So we have different clubs, interest groups, neighborhood gatherings, and shared interests that make it easier for you to find your home here within your home. We also want you to show up authentically as yourself. Our main goal is to remove those friction points and entry points. So then that way you find something that feels authentic to you, your shared interests and your neighbors. And we hope that you can find something that feels natural and connection. And we also want to hear from you to help shape what comes next for our community. So we sent out a community life survey that can be completed. It was posted in Enumerate Engage, your resident portal. If you have any questions on how to find that link, you can come see us, but we've also conveniently included it in the QR code here. So you're welcome to scan this with your phone and it'll take you directly to that link. We are doing a raffle for 4 $100 gift cards each to Cenizo, Sano Market, Sweet Bites, and Chick-fil-A, which, fun fact, all of which I named are owned and operated by local Eastonites, so your neighbors. So we'd love to hear your opinions. This team up here does a great job of implementing the feedback that's given by y'all to help shape what comes next. So we so far have 150 completed survey results. Last year we saw 500. We know we have several more Eastonites, well more than that. So we would love to hear your opinions. And that survey will close August 23rd. So that is next Sunday. So please send in your thoughts and feedback when you get a chance. We would really appreciate it. And connections begin and look a lot of different ways. It can be through those shared interests or shared hobbies. And so what we'll look at in the next slide is a preview of what life in the park can look like. So in the coming weeks, we have a few different events that you can join us for. So we just had our artisan market. This happens on a monthly occurrence. So the next one will be coming up in September. You'll see that date on the screen here shortly. But it is a local artisan market hosted by Move Mountains Artisan Market. And they have typically between 30 to 50 vendors, many of which are Eastonite owned businesses. They have their summer hours from 10 to 2, but you'll see that shift back to their regular hours of 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Skyline Park. So they'll activate the green lawn space and the pavilion area with not just vendors to purchase from, but also live entertainment that is free of charge. It's a great opportunity for you to come yourself or with family and stay connected. We also just hosted our Sparks and Sounds event. Did anyone in this room attend that event? Yay, okay, awesome. Well, thank y'all for being there. It was such a fun one. It was our second annual event, Sparks and Sounds event, and we ended with an epic fireworks show. Thank you. The timing was very intentional to help send our youngest Eastonites back off to school as school begins back up for Del Valley this week. And we had live performance also by an Eastonite, your neighbor, Brian Wolf, and had several different activations. So we would love to see you in future years' renditions of this event and also at future events coming up, like our Pride event, which is on its 5th annual rendition. And we are hosting that in the Costello, so the room across the hallway from us, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will have Queen Nadine and several other queens who will be doing a drag performance and bingo. We will be selling cocktails and mocktails, and the proceeds from that will go to a charity that was selected by a Pride committee made up of your neighbors. And this year they selected Ground Floor Theater's Queer Youth Summer Camp as the benefiting organization. So you'll have opportunities to make direct donations, also hear from a representative from the organization to speak to the impact that your participation and support can produce. So we would love to see you out there. And if you have any questions on any of the programming or on things that you would like to see, my door is always open and I would love to hear your thoughts. Looking ahead into September, we have our Spark graduation ceremony. For those of you who are not familiar, we actually have a Spark cohort member in this room, but I won't call them out unless they want to wave. But this is our 4th annual Spark class, if I'm not mistaken. And what Spark is, for those of you who may not be familiar, is a resident leadership program that we have here. As I mentioned, this team up here does such a great job of implementing your feedback and incorporating that into the future development of this community. Spark is a great way for you to get started from the ground up and be a part of an even closer part of that change. So you'll learn sort of a behind the curtain look at how the association, the development works, and what you can do as a resident to help make a bigger impact in your community. So we will be celebrating this class. We do professional headshots, a catered dinner, and celebrate them. And we lean on them often for focus groups and specific questions, and when we really just want a pulse check in general from the community. So if you're wanting to get involved, the way to do that is keep an eye out towards the end of this year, beginning of next year for our info session that will hold. It's not required that you attend that, but if you ever have any questions before then or leading up to, you can always come talk to me as well. We also have a very special event coming up that is the first of its kind, and that is EP Music & Co. The naming was done very intentionally by yours truly, Paul Cardenas, your Director of Community Engagement. EP being a word that is used in the music industry, right? EP. Music & Co. Music, obviously. You can anticipate a concert series here of some sort. And Co is a nod to the company and the partnerships that are going to bring this alive for us. So this is volume 1 of what we hope are many installments to come in future years, but we are focusing very heavily on the philanthropic leg of this. The impact will be local, and that will be specifically with our district, Del Valley ISD. So they will be supporting in many different ways. They will have their Ojeda Middle School marching band that will be the opening act for the concert. And then we will also have a performance with the headliner from Texas High Rose. The school system will stay involved in the event support. So their hospitality program will serve as event greeters and on-site staff support. And then the hospitality, or rather the culinary arts program will serve up snacks on site as well. So it's a great way to be involved and support your local community and have a great time with a great cause behind it. This is done in partnership with Texas Music Project, a nonprofit organization that aims to provide music education and music therapy throughout Texas. So we would love to see y'all there and help launch this off with a bang. This is at Skyline Park. Yes, Skyline Park. It will be Saturday, September 19th from 6 to 9 in the evening. And lastly, we move into our We Are Blood drive, done in partnership with We Are Blood. We host these on a quarterly basis. It is a great way to make an impact without, if you are not the social butterfly, this is still a great way to be connected with your community. At our last blood drive, we had 19 successful donations, which helped impact 57 local patients. So we appreciate you either joining by donating or spreading the word to your neighbors who can come out and make it. This one will be hosted on September 26th from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And that is hosted at the Union, and the blood mobile bus parks just to the right of this building. So across from the picnic tables is where they'll be stationed. So we'd love to see you there.
So
that is
now, yeah, now we get to move on to some really cool stuff.
All right.
That was cool. This is cool too.
Build up there. Happy first day of school for everybody that's at Newton Collins. That was a good time. And I wanted to talk about the Sparks and Sounds, Sights and Sound. That was, if you weren't there, you missed a really good party. So I'm looking forward to that, keeping involving it each year, because that was a good time. Lots of people out there, and the fireworks were awesome. It was good. If you've ever watched fireworks, you're usually a lot further away. These are just like set up right at the end of the park, and so it's like you're a lot closer to it. So it's pretty awesome. Good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide to give you a commercial update. My entire update this quarter is now way more significant. There's a lot of stuff that we've been talking about that's coming soon, and now all of a sudden we're actually delivering on a lot of the stuff we've been talking about for a while. So we'll just run through all these. First, there was a question about the sign that went up in 2C3. That's this area that's down at the very end of Apogee, and it said multifamily, and now it says mixed use. That was just a typo. We put up the wrong sign at first. So it's mixed use now. It could be multifamily, it might be build to rent, it might be commercial, it might be retail. The reason we want to put up a sign there is because people are always shocked whenever we do things that we want to with our land. So we wanted to go ahead and put it out there that it's a mixed use thing. We're not exactly sure what's going to be on that corner, but it's going to be something. So that was just a sign for their mistake on our part, the sign that we put up.
It's where?
At the very end of Apogee, right where the slaughter lane's kind of cross there, it's that one parcel that's there on the corner. Apogee and Skytex, between Skytex and Future Slaughter. HEB, somebody asked about HEB. HEB is going up. It's not our property, but it's immediately adjacent, right out there, catty corner to the CVS. Their timeline slipped, but they're looking at the first quarter of 28 opening, which if they're going to open in there, then hopefully we're going to see construction. Let's call it maybe the end of this year or something like that. So again, that's not Easton Park, but we all get to benefit from it. So I mean, they're fully own it, and it's going to happen, and it's moving through, and they're just going through some of the end of project kind of permit pains that we all do on a regular basis as well. It's just harder to build things out here. So they're going through that, but they will break ground at some point here in the near future, probably before the end of the year, and then with a plan to open at the beginning of 2028. All right. There was a question because now CLD Realty, that's a broker that Brookfield has gone on a contract with on like 7 or 8 parcels that we have around here. They're marketing that. So everybody's like, hey, who are these guys? It's somebody that Brookfield is engaged with. There's a lot of different parcels that we're now ready to bring to market. We're finding users for all of those. There's a question about like, what's the vision here? I think we have a good vision. You're going to start to see that through some of the partners that we're bringing in here. What comes to market though, it's all dependent on the market of who wants to be here. It's a broken record. If you ever come to town hall and listen to me talk, we put it out on market and we see who wants to be here. specifically this parcel, that's the dog park right now. That's on the market. We're gonna be a lot more sensitive with who we bring here and make sure that we're curating that parcel a little bit more, 'cause it's sitting next to our nicest amenity that we have. So that one will be a little bit more hands-on, but by and large, there's a lot of, little strip centers that's gonna bring like, residential kind of convenience commercial in a couple of different spots, as well as more restaurants and things like that. And like I said, just convenience stores. What those are all gonna be, we're gonna have to wait until we move through that, because we're working with developers. They buy the land, then they start to build, and they start to get tenants. So just so y'all know, there's restrictions in all of our contracts for, no vape shops, no adult stores, no we can still have liquor stores, but not just like small little package stores. Make sure they're like a reputable brand, things like that. So I just want y'all to have that kind of confidence that like those restrictions are in all of our contracts when they go out there. It can't be a pawn shop. It can't be this, it can't be that. Like there are restrictions that aren't going to allow any of that stuff to ever be in Easton Park. As far as individual users though, like I said, we let the market kind of come to us. In some areas, we can be a lot more selective. We work directly with a individual kind of user, and then other ones we sell off 3 acres to a commercial developer. They build a strip center that then they try to fill with quality tenants. So that's kind of how that works. Speaking of that, the Grove Phase 2, so the area just south of the CVS and the AutoZone, the McDonald's, that area, we're looking at that's been under transaction for a long time. Legally, it's going to transact from one group to another here in the next 30 days. And then they should have a contract that they can then like move forward with and start development before the end of this year. We should see some kind of construction happening out there. There is a plan for a gym. I know everybody's seen that because they go and pull crap off the internet that's not accurate. But there was a gym on contract like over a year ago, and that one fell through, but they got another one on the hook. That's coming here and being in that area. And then there's also another pad that's probably going to have a medical use. And then there's 2 other multi-tenant buildings. I heard a list of the people that are in it. Sounds awesome. Again, they're all letters of intent right now, so we're not going to say any names out loud because those can all fall through. But there are 2 multi-tenant buildings, the same way that the one, Cross Bank and Paul's on Chicon and all are in. Those 2 kind of similar buildings that are going to sit right at that roundabout that's over there. Again, once they go into construction, they actually sign leases and stuff, we'll start releasing names. But I think there's a lot of value going to come in there, and we should see some kind of construction before the end of this year. So that's good that that's moving forward. Right to the east of us, at the end of Model Road, is Partners Medical Office. That's been under construction now for about a month. Probably we're having an official kind of groundbreaking ceremony with gold shovels and pictures. Not this Friday, but next. But I think they're moving forward with a lot of good tenants, a lot faster than they realized. They didn't realize there was such a demand out here in Easton. So that's exciting that once they were only going to build one of their 4 buildings, and now they're building all 4 at once because they're going to outfit them all, because they already are starting to get LOIs on a lot of good tenants. So excited to see that going there. It's under construction. They're looking for late 27. So late next year, having that whole site activated. And then of course, tenants, 3-month move-in process with tenants and stuff like that to move in. Refuel, I'm sure if y'all have gone to the end of William Cannon, you see that thing is about ready to pop. There's a pretty cool mural they're putting the finishing touches on in the next couple of days here. I think it's August 20th is when the soft opening is. They might even open before that for just fuel cells, but in and around that date, that's what they're targeting. Don't hold me to that date if it's the 21st and it's not open. Trust me, guys, it's happening very, very soon. We just went and toured it 2 days ago. It's going to be a good addition here. If you realize, it's like you think gas station, but it's like if you need gas or convenience around Easton Park, you actually have to go somewhat of a pain to get away for something. Like now we're going to have a really high quality operator operating here in the neighborhood. So pretty excited about that opening. And then the Enclave Apartments, those are the ones that you see going vertical. They're right off of 183, just north of William Cannon. Their first building and the club and the pool are all supposed to open Memorial Day of next year. And then they're gonna keep rolling out buildings as it comes, but they'll start pre-leasing, so you'll probably see more social media pushes and signage and stuff like that, right at the beginning of next year, so that they can open up, in May at the end of that year. Next slide. We'll take questions at the end if you can hold on to it for a second, all right? Amenity update. So a couple different things. We got questions of all kinds of stuff. So Prospect, there was a question of like what's happening to the ponds that are on the north side of Prospect. There's two of them along the Ravine Way and along Flatbush. The one on Flatbush, there was a mechanical problem of how it drained and how it pumped and how fast it reset. We fixed all the mechanical problems. Now we're just trying to reestablish vegetation there. Same thing sort of with the one that's kind of in the middle of the neighborhood behind Ravine Way. So a lot of that is pond restoration and kind of fixing some things there, but then also regular maintenance. I know there's a lot of questions about like, well, there was this beautiful grass and then we mowed it down. If anything is inside that pond or on the bank of the pond, they're actually civil engineering kind of structurally cleaning water gets inspected, things get reported to the state, kind of stuff like that, where we have a lot less say in how that actually happens in that pond. So sometimes it's like, why are y'all mowing this down? It's like, because we have to maintain a certain level of quality of exactly how that pond is there. So a lot of people think maybe the ponds are aesthetics, and I wish that were the case, but we live in Austin, Texas. So we don't just have ponds because they're beautiful. We have these things that have to function a certain kind of way, and they require this regular maintenance. And part of the maintenance is mowing the grass. So I know there's a lot of things on social media right now, like, why are you mowing grass? If it's inside or around those ponds, there's rules to how those occupied, and those get turned over to other government agencies. So Brookfield and Easton Park doesn't own those ponds anymore. Those are owned by the MUD on behalf of the city or the county, depending on which one it is. So there's a lot of stuff where our hands are tied. I love the water that used to stand in the pond in Flatbush. They're like, hey, we have a lake. That's actually because the pond was failing. It wasn't draining. Those aren't actually supposed to hold water. They're actually supposed to be putting them out. So there's a lot of that stuff that you got to just be patient with it, and also just realize that those are there for the sake of water quality, stormwater detention, all these environmental and ecological kind of friendly things. So if we say we like that out loud and we say we like that in Austin, then we actually have to then go through with it and then do the maintenance to make those things work. So, all right, the South amenity, this is the same update I've been giving for like the last 4 quarters, but it's still the same thing because so we're on track. That's a good thing, right? I'm not talking about slipping. We're hoping that we actually have something that's permittable to enter into the system at the end of this month. We've been designing it now for like the last 8 months, but we're going to be able to put in something for a permit this month. And it usually takes us about a year to get a site plan through the city of Austin. So we're hoping to have it groundbreaking in August of 27. We don't know how long it's going to take to build this amenity. It's pretty amazing. So if it's a year, this could be end of 28. If it's a year and a half, which is more what I'm leaning towards, it's more like spring of 29. So that's the same timeline we've been talking about, spring or summer of 29, having a grand opening on the South amenity. Nothing has been validated with our capital partner, with our corporate leadership, with our cost analysts or anything. But us three up here have seen these renderings of things that we're trying to get done out there, and it's going to be fantastic. So it'll be different than this. There will be a building, there will be a pool. We know there's going to be a large water feature. That's all I'm going to say that we're definitely going to do, but there'll be a large water feature. There will be sports courts, and there will be another building like this where there's a meeting room, some other HOA offices, some other rentable space. So those things I can tell you for sure we'll have in some form or fashion. What that's going to be, we got a lot of wickets to get through to make sure that I can actually say that. So the idea is, though, and I'll get to this in a minute, when we open that next section in the south, which is kind of like spring next year, we're hoping to then have locked in enough of the amenity center that we're starting to put out pictures of like, this is what it's going to be, this is what we're going to have and stuff like that. So I'd say hit me up spring of next year. By that time, we are going to be able to say with confidence what it is we are permitting, what we are building, what we're going to open up, and then we'll have a better idea of the timeline as well. So lots of good things there. And I want y'all to know that the feedback that you'll get from, so whenever you do a cohere survey, we get that feedback. Whenever you post stuff on Facebook, we eventually get that feedback. It gets consolidated when we have the, when we have the, what am I trying to say? Focus groups.
Mhm.
There's some of those other surveys that we've had and stuff. So like that feedback gets back to us eventually. Also, we use some of the best analysts there are in the industry as far as what's trending in other places in Texas, what's beneficial, like what's working in Florida that could work here, things like that. And so there's a lot of input that goes on this. I don't want y'all to think that people are just sitting in a silo kind of figuring this stuff out. There's a lot of things that go into this with our demographic, with our HOA rates, all those things kind of go into how we design a big amenity like that. So we're excited to share that with y'all as soon as we can be more specific about what we're sharing. Path lighting, we have solar lights now that go on the path between Pilot and Skyline. I went and looked at them myself in the middle of the night one night. I will tell you, they do make things a little safer. They're a little bit more like, hey, now I kind of can see where we're going. There is so much ambient light for the city of Austin. And once you go out there and let your eyes adjust, you can see a lot out there. So we're going to continue with those lights. The northern path was completed. We're doing the southern path that was kind of shut down for a bit because of slaughter construction. That's reopened. So now we're going to put lights on that. And then we are reassessing other paths. But don't think that we're going to go throw lights on every path, because like the path that's in Discovery Park right behind my house, you can put lights out there, but you get so much light off of all the houses that it's kind of like, why are you doing this? So we're going to use this when we need to, when we have some more secluded paths that we want to put some solar lights along. We finally found a good vendor that does it for a reasonable price with a good product. We'll look at putting those in other spots, but it's not that we're just going to go throw lights on every path. This whole thing is just to keep things safe, to keep things navigable if you go out in the middle of the morning for a run or something like that. But it's not, the idea isn't to light these things up like it's some big public park or something like that. So it's just beacon lighting more than anything. Skyline Park, so we can finally announce this because we have a contract and it's actually happening out there. We are adding 2 sand volleyball courts to Skyline Park. So that is the construction that you have seen up there. Pretty excited about that. There's going to be a couple of shipping containers that are storage for the HOA and for the contractor that does our maintenance out here and stuff like that. So some much needed storage for all the events that we have at Skyline to be able to put that stuff up there. We're also putting 2 food truck pads up there. Don't know who those food trucks are going to be. We've had a lot of success for the ones that are over here at Union Park West. So we're going to try to find the right vendor that'll stay open a lot of time and add to that whole field that's up there. And then a seating area as well adjacent to those food truck paths. So that's a contract that's what, 4 months, 3 months? Yeah, it's a 90-day contract, but I mean, that's, take that with a grain of salt. So by the end of the year, we'll be out there playing volleyball, guys. So pretty excited about that. And then Union Park West, Colleen touched on it at the beginning. We're adding a second pickleball court. We're also adding where it's going to be the permanent dog park. So that will be the replacement for the one that's here next to the amenity center. However, there's zero reason for us to shut down the existing dog park until we have a buyer for this piece of land and until they're actually going to start building something. So for a while, we're going to have 2 dog parks that are sitting right over here with the idea that we're going to sunset the one that's next to the amenity center eventually. So let's call it 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Okay. And at that point, the hedgerow that's the backstop to the new dog park will be filled out a little bit more and stuff. And that'll be the permanent location of the dog park, at least over here. Not saying that's the only dog park in Easton, but it's going to be that moving from the current one over to there gradually. And then last, there's questions about the grass and the Oswald medians kind of in Prospect Park between Apogee and Coda Vista. Man, there's a lot of stuff that's going wrong with those. Kind of how the irrigation was installed, maybe. We got by for a while, then we had some kind of bug, and then we had some kind of other disease. And you can kind of see that around Prospect, not only in the medians, but immediately north and immediately south. So it was kind of like localized to that area. There's a lot of speculation about what it was and wasn't. So we tried to treat it a couple different ways and none of it worked. I think we're going to kind of rebuild the whole system, to be honest. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen in the scorching heat. So this is probably something you're gonna see early next year, as having a plan and replacing all that. There was plan for sod in those medians, and there was sod there for a year or so, and then it all kind of went to crap, and we couldn't quite figure out why. So we tried all the easy answers of treating it a couple different ways. I think we're gonna bite the bullet and replace it all, but we're not gonna do it right now, because it doesn't make any sense to do that. So that improvement's coming. Next slide. Mike Lovo.
So speaking of medians, one median and just like right away, enhancement I want to talk about really quickly is McKinney Falls. So this is about 4,700 linear feet along our western border from William Cannon all the way down till McKinney Falls transitions to Daxton. It's funny, AJ and I have been talking about redoing the landscaping on that road for a very long time. And, we had a plan in place, and by the time we got the bids back, we looked at this plan and we're like, man, this thing is gonna cost a lot of money and it's gonna use a lot of water. And we were sitting here in probably year 3 or 4 of a crazy drought, and we're like, this plan is actually incredibly irresponsible for the amount of turf and irrigation that we were gonna put in there. And so we huddled up, sat down, looked at the plan, looked at, evaluated all the plant material that we had out here, and came up with a newer concept where we're utilizing a lot of just like native, Texas native plant material, drought tolerant plant material that we planted, incredibly densely in between, from curve to curve, mass planted it without any supplemental irrigation. So by doing that, just from a development cost, saved me $900,000. And then from, just water conservation, 1.3 million gallons of water a year. That is a repeatable model throughout the rest of Easton Park that we are 100% going to adopt. And that is just, that is maintenance cost that comes off of your HOA bills that Colleen and, the landscapers don't have to mow. You don't have a guy that's riding on a zero turn in the middle of McKinney Falls that's going to get hit by, a truck or a trailer. So it's a safer condition. It's a more, ecologically responsible design. And quite frankly, I think it looks better than just having like an artificially green turf median surrounded by just brown native grass everywhere else. And it just doesn't respond to a natural Central Texas landscape. So that's the intentionality there. And I know there's a lot of ecological sensitive people that live in the community. And, we as developers, we share that same mindset. We care about the water quality detention facilities that AJ was talking about. Those are green infrastructure facilities. And we care a lot about those. We care about our media design, and then we try to be great stewards of your dollar. And so we want to set you all up for success and not just put, an unnecessary financial burden just to have mowed, manicured turf in the middle of the median.
Yeah, that 900,000, $250,000 was gonna go to the city of Austin just to get water meters.
Yeah.
That's how much they charge for water meters. And since it's so long, we had to get 5 different meters along there. So that was $250,000 just in the ability to get a water bill from them. So, yeah, it was huge savings. And what Mike didn't say is, this in Easton Park, but it's like the contractor that put these in, now he's selling this to all of his other customers going, hey, actually, we have this repeatable design. So now we took the responsibility in Easton Park, and now that's going to actually move to other areas where people are saying this makes too much sense not to keep doing it. So if you go out there now, you'll see spots where there's things missing. Okay, cool. It's been in the ground for 8 months. Give it a little bit more time. And at some point it's going to be fully massed together. It'll be this big, beautiful, just I think it looks great already, but, pretty excited about this. And there will still be turf in Easton Park. There'll still be places where it makes perfect sense to have bright green grass, like in Skyline Park and other spots. But in other things where we've been paying a lot of money, and y'all been paying a lot of money in upkeep and water bills, to throw artificially green stuff on the backside of something that just doesn't need it, like along some of the trails and things like that, we're kind of changing our mindset on a lot of that stuff going forward.
And
So
then just another added perk is whenever you have verticality in the right of way, it is a natural traffic calming measure. So the second, that plant material gets above 24 inches, cars are going to kind of slow down a little bit more. And as opposed to just everything just being scalloped and just all the way to the ground, then people tend to treat those roads like racetracks. But if there's a little bit of just interest, like the muley grasses are starting to there's some movement to that, there's some just visual interest, people will just naturally slow down. So the intention is to also slow down some of the traffic.
Right. Next slide. Right. push through these. I know we're going long a little bit here. Coda Vista, get asked about this all the time. The construction started back in March. Now we are, if y'all been listening to this one, man, we've been trying to build this road for a long time. First time it showed up in my meeting minutes with the county was August of 2021. And October this year. All the way up near that new apartment complex, comes across William Cannon, goes down through that area that we're building right now, and then even past Prospect, it'll continue down to Slaughter Lane. And if you look at the pictures on the right and left, that's the aerial of what it was before we started this project and then what it is as of 2 months ago. So you'll see where that kind of connection is. All right, next slide. Questions about Slaughter Lane. This is the same slide y'all see now for the last 2 quarters, if not 3, but it shows you right now what parts of Sassman are completely cut off. The eastern part, you know, if you have a reason to get up there, which you don't, that's a lot of people go to just dump crap. It's awesome. We've got a lot of tires, a lot of couches. Anyways, that road's not completely shut down, but there's no reason to go there. But you'll kind of see the connection points and those big X's of you know, where we've shut down the road. But eventually we're going to have that first third of Slaughter Lane from, you know, Thaxton Road on our western border all the way over to Apogee. We're rebuilding parts of that Apogee intersection that goes in between Skytex and Sassman. So the Slaughter project, which is that chunk of Apogee and then that chunk of Slaughter, we're looking for completion in March. We're probably going to pave it in March. Whether or not the county's going to let us drive on it right away, we think we've probably got a little bit of a hurdle there, but I'm hoping by May we can actually drive on Slaughter Lane. Sassman Road is a part of the Grant Park project, which is that first chunk of lots that are south of Slaughter. All of that's supposed to be completed sometime in October this year. So that Sassman connection will be open, and then all those lots that are there in between Slaughter and Sassman are supposed to be delivered in October this year. So that's all coming up. Say again?
You think the cannon is gonna be open before the?
That's my goal, because I think I can build something faster than the city of Austin.
Yes.
Can't leave us.
Yeah.
Oh.
We-
Space to space. That's what they want. Yes.
So I got a little bit of an update there on a, well, I'll say it now, it's on a later slide. We called the project manager a couple days ago and they said, oh yeah, like late this year, it's gonna be open. And of course, no, they actually said October, and I was just like, they are still all under the impression they are gonna open up William Cannon in October this year. So that's
the first time they said that?
that's actually the same update we had a long time ago. They said mid to late 26. So we'll see. So next slide. There's an apartment complex that's going in along William Cannon. This is one where we closed with them a long time ago. They've been working through permits and stuff. They're supposed to break ground in October. It's called The Local. It's a developer called Wilson Capital. It is going to be on both sides of Hillock. They're at Hillock and William Cannon. So obviously a majority of it is kind of on the western side, but then there's another part on the eastern side. So it's going to sit kind of next to the Ariza apartments, north of Union Village, and then north of the BB Living build to rent. So that's what's going in there. Like they're pegging right now. They're hoping to break ground in October.
Is that across the street from Refuel, basically? Is that what-
Yeah, a little bit across from Refuel to the west, just a little bit. All right, and then last slide, like I said, William Cannon Drive, west of Easton. They said October. I don't see it happening, but that's what they're pegging up towards now. And everybody always asks, when are y'all going to open up the lanes in front of the CVS? It's not actually our project. It kind of says Brookfield's going to open the lanes. We're going to push real hard for it. At that point, it's actually the city of Austin. Oddly enough, even though it's Travis County right away, they're going to come through and reset the median and make it to where the 4 lanes go right through our neighborhood. So
It's Slaughter, it's Brookfield. It's not Austin, it's not Steve.
oh, right. So to be clear, Easton Park is in the ETJ. Technically, we're in the limited purpose district, which is a special kind of hell of an ETJ. which means we sit under Travis County and the city of Austin. So depending on what things we have to do, some things we answer to the city, some things we answer to the county, and some things they say, well, it's county now, but it'll be the city 30 years from now, so the city gets a say on top of it. Okay, all of our streets are Travis County. So those are gonna, as soon as I build them, we hand them over to Travis County, and then they're not ours anymore. The land is theirs, the maintenance is theirs. Travis County owns all the roads. So William Cannon currently is Travis County. Those 2 lanes in front of CVS that aren't open, those already belong to Travis County. The city of Austin, right as you move west of us, you're not in the ETJ. Well, you're in a different kind of ETJ. But city does the roads over there. As soon as you come into Easton Park, the county does the roads. So that's where there's kind of a conflict of who's doing what. So that's that situation there. Street crossings, we are working with our traffic engineer and the county. I mean, I've said this forever and everybody's like, dude, the wheels of government move slow, especially on these things, the easiest things, but we have something under review right now that's actually going to improve more than what we've already done with Newton Collins in and around the school. We're actually trying to lower the speed limit even more than it is, those flashing lights, we're actually trying to move those out further so they cover more intersections. There's also, if you go to the Cenizo and you're over at Union Park West, there's a pedestrian crossing right there that's just paint right now. We're hoping to beef that one up. If you leave the amenity center and you walk across Colton, we're trying to beef up that intersection. Again, very limited to what we can push for, but we're pushing for the max is flashing lights if we can get it. If not, more vertical delineators, kind of breaks and things, other ways to bring attention to it. So we're trying to push for as much as we can.
I can speak to that a little bit. So like, we were talking about how there's a joint relationship between City of Austin and Travis County. And so City of Austin, I think like 2021 adopted a pedestrian mobility plan that they have a pretty standard detail where you see like those like flexible lane delineators in various areas. Like if you go towards like Circle C and stuff where you see those crossings. Travis County has reviewed that detail and they're like, oh, that's an acceptable detail for us. That's what we're going to repeat. So at all of these crossings, Travis County has reviewed what the city of Austin done, studied it. Now they're adopting it. Now it's just a matter of executing it. So this time, all this just takes time. But when you drive around the rest of Austin and you see those like either yellow or white pylons that are sticking up in the air that has like the little like warning caution sign and stuff, that's what we're striving towards.
Yeah. We're doing the best we can right there. And then there was a question about this one town hall ago, and then I drove it personally. If you've ever been on 183, headed north, and you tried to take a left into Easton Park at night, you kind of start turning left, and then your headlights haven't got there yet, and you don't know where you're going. We're trying to light up that intersection so you can kind of see something. It took us a bit to get to TxDOT with what they'll allow us to do, but we're trying to put up another light pole right there where there's already a pedestrian crossing pole. We're trying to put a light pole there. It's a weird situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you ever driven there at night, then you're kind of like, oh man, this is kind of dark and I don't know where I'm going. I'm just turning left, hoping I don't hit the median. So we're trying to light that up. It's something that was brought to us from a question at a town hall that I never thought about. So y'all's input in these town halls do matter, and we take things and go, oh man, we never thought about that. So I'm glad somebody brought this to my attention, because then I paid attention to it and I was like, oh yeah, this sucks. And so we try to fix it. So anyways, with that said, that is all of our updates. It's 10 till the top of the hour. So I think we'll take questions now. Start right here on the right side.
Here about a month and a half ago in California, and I love it here. It's wonderful. I still live part-time in California, part-time here. I'm very, very involved in my community there.
Mhm.
So this is my first meeting.
Mhm.
I'm at Apogee and Boswell and in Brookfield.
Mhm.
And so I look at that Prospect Park green area on the corner there all the time. Walk my dog all over the place, but I have counted 9 to 10 trees that have died and not been replaced. It's probably the worst looking area I've seen in this part of the grass. I have videos if you wanted of where the sprinklers come on. It's a little stream. That's it, a little stream. And there was just a tree replaced and now it's dead again. And that's going to be extremely busy intersection at some point in time, and so I'm hoping that those trees, I don't know, contractor, but if they die, they should replace them.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm hoping, but the grass is dying, there's weeds everywhere, it's just very poorly maintained, and then you get the construction trash blowing through there also.
Yeah.
And then we also have a drainage problem there
Mhm.
on that cul-de-sac, which I understand Brookfield's aware of. They didn't put a drain there, so the water just sits like a lake
Mhm.
in 3 different areas. So hopefully on Marset and Reeves Hill, I think. Also, my other issue is, at Oslet and Apogee, there's the detention pond, the big area that just cleared out. Is there any plans to put more of a natural park in there instead of just basically weeds that you mow down a couple of times a year? It's such a great area. It's right in the center.
Right.
And it's adjacent to Skyline. And it just seems like it would be an ideal place to put some type of amenity in there or activity, or even more of a planned natural
Mhm.
park.
Wow. Okay, so the question was talking about just landscaping and conditions overall at, Osblick and Apogee, specifically on the east side of Apogee. If you talk to us afterwards about the trees and the irrigation, where that's at, because that is something that we've been looking at with our landscaping contractor, our maintenance contractor, that area specifically. So I'd like to make sure that I know exactly what trees and stuff you're talking about, because that is something that we got to work through. As far as that area though, on that northeast corner of those 2 streets, a decision was made far before we were a part of this company and stuff like that, of that all being detention. So technically that holds the detention for all of Skyline Park, all moves across the street and goes into there. So very, 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 very limited things that we are allowed to do in that. I know it doesn't look like a pond, but the city sees that as a pond. That is a detention facility. As soon as you get off the sidewalk, that whole thing is a big detention facility. So, like I said, there's a lot of limits to what we can do. There's a lot of limits to what we will do. At some point, when it's not a full amenity, it's not a park that we're gonna do. We're not necessarily gonna go invest in making this like big manicured turf area. Some ponds we can do that in, other ponds, because they're classified different, we can't do that in. Right now, that's one of those that we just can't really touch. We've actually been talking about ways we think we can talk to the city into letting us do things there that maybe would be beneficial to homeowners and still meet all the requirements for being what that is. That is this big area that doesn't make me happy that it is what it is. Except for right now, that is what it is. So I'm not giving you a lot of answers to what I can do to it, because we have literally been talking about that corner for at least 5 years going, how could we make this more beneficial to homeowners? And what would it take to do it? Because it was on a plat in an easement with the city. Vacating it and changing it requires a lot of like political will and a lot of money and a lot of other things that we're gonna look at to see if we can do that there. So I'm promising you very little. Just know that that is something that like, it doesn't go away. We constantly drive by it and go, is there some way we can make this better? We've made a lot of inroads with the city of Austin environmental folks, with the wetland biologists, and we are also pushing the limits of what we think we can get away with in certain areas, and we're getting okay signals in some other spots, so we're always looking at that corner. Always looking at that corner, because we wish we could turn it into something useful. The developers before us, that was just not smart. I'm just gonna throw that out there, it's just that's a big old area that now is completely legally locked away from us, and so.
Just get 2 things that I think, expose us to HOA and obviously the citizens here to liability.
Okay.
Meaning raising for homeowner association, because we can get sued a lot of problems. So also walking this area, there's lots of areas of the site here, 2 inches down here. And you're just waiting for a lawsuit. Someone's gonna trip on that, and they're gonna sue the association of the city or whoever is taking care of that.
Right.
Especially down Apogee, all the way to where Slaughter is gonna be. It's really very, very bad, and it's just a liability for the HOA. And then the other thing is, I see a lot, I see at least 4 people who have their dogs off leash. And they are large dogs. They are not close to them. They are 100 yards away. And, one person told me, oh, well, my dog was trained to be off leash. And I said, well, my dog's not. And if your dog comes up to my dog, I don't know what my dog will do or what your dog will do because you don't have control of your dog. I do, but you don't. And it seems to be this like, almost a sense of entitlement, like, I don't need to follow the rules, everyone else does. You have liability there, I read on next door that dogs were off leash at Skyline, and this same person, their dog attacked this man's dog. And, I don't want to see that happen, but again, you're gonna have liability, if you have problems like that.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is, because, who you report that to, or what, how you follow up on that.
Mhm.
But I think it needs to be kind of like put out there in your information, as a notice that, you know what, you'll be cited, or, please,
Right.
please, have common courtesy
Mhm.
for your neighbors and their dogs.
You should be on Facebook more. All right, for the people on online, there's 2 points. We were talking about cracks in sidewalks and unlevelness, and then also off-leash dogs on the sidewalks. We're actually working with the mud because now we just got approval. Ability to go in and fix any of them. So dog leashes, it's kind of like the WNBA. I don't want to talk about any of it right now because I'm afraid of what I might say. So,
Well, what we've done in the past is if you can help us out, take a picture,
Oh, yeah.
general area. We try to, yeah, and if you, yeah. Yeah, well, if you can possibly find out where they're from, we have no problem sending them a violation, trying to get in touch with them. I know that we've posted quite often on our Enumerate website and send out reminders, and we could do it again. Keep on doing it. That's about the best way. We've tried calling Travis County before.
If they will do a full association has no control.
So we have to be attacked first.
Yeah.
Right, like I said, we just need to try to be priority proactive to take something like that. But if there is any type of incident, those to be reported to Travis County. And if you call 311, they'll get you an actual officer. We had one happen here. I don't know, earlier this year, I guess, and you call them and then Travis County Sheriff Hayes did all the report. And somebody was in the middle, to call ambulance and stuff. So it does get reported, it does get enforced that way.
But it does seem like, some type of overall communication that.
that exists already.
We do.
Like it's on the, yeah,
Yeah, we do.
it's on the push out in our newsletters, and it's on the website and stuff like that. And the idea that people are going to have common courtesy, well, I mean, that's the answer to pretty damn near everything. So if we.
And with the sidewalks too, you can go on to Travis County's site and report it. I do that. And the more that you guys report it, the more,
Right.
we're rattling their cage, and they'll say, okay, we're going to put in a work order. But you can go on their website. It's Travis County.
The sidewalks that are along right of way are still within the right of way. So they all belong to Travis County after we built them. Yeah. Right. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Not submit my question.
Not a problem.
Providing that. But anyway, my question, I live on Colton West Springs.
Mhm.
I am first house right after the trail. One of 8 houses that face Colton West Springs, it's a highway.
Mhm.
And, my concern, when we're working with the county,
Mhm.
is to get some signage up or something, because it is dangerous. Because cars cannot go before, there's a speed limit sign that says 40 miles an hour, right before
Mhm.
the trails.
Right.
That's way too fast.
Mhm.
And people go 60, they go 70. At night, it's super bad. If you're out there and they're walking, people that are walking on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
If you have a child, you have to tell them to walk on the other side. 'Cause
Yeah.
if something happens, it's super dangerous. Is there anything that can be done as far as providing some kind of signage? The county says that you can do that
Mhm.
while they're in the process of conducting a speed study, which I have requested.
All right, are you in Union Park East or are you?
No,
in
I'm.
Union-
I'm
Union Park West? Oh, okay, you're right there. So that is one of the study that we submitted like within the last couple of weeks for multiple times. We've done this kind of iterations, has us at least stepping down Colton Bluff 5 miles an hour more. Cause that's part of that school of like,
Yes.
once you step it down one, then we are allowed to step it down again. The Travis County rules of how they dictate speed limits makes no sense, but every time that we get it adjusted by 5, then we go back about 6 months later and try to get it adjusted by another 5. As far as enforcement goes, we hadn't had this conversation here in this town hall, but we usually have to every town hall. It's all y'all and it's all you call, you have to call the county sheriff. A lot of these things are all dictated by them as far as traffic enforcement, as far as more signs. Outside of speed limits.
And so kind of like what AJ was talking about, like with.
We 100%
do
can.
that. So
That's a liability. So talk about liability. If we put up a traffic sign that's not approved by Travis County, if somebody did anything, they'd sue us. Yeah.
So kind of like how we were talking about, like fill out the survey and we use the data to like, give us the best feedback. Travis County does the same thing. So every time that y'all call the sheriff's office, all that data gets aggregated into a database. And then my traffic engineer is able to pull that data and then we do these warrant studies. And every time that y'all, put in a ticket request or you call 911 or you call the sheriff's office, it gets logged. If you make a report, it gets logged. Then I'm able to then pull that data and then compile a case to present it to county, to Travis County saying, hey, I now have enough data that warrants a slower speed limit. So that's why we need y'all's help to slow down.
Every day, because we're going 60 down that road.
Yes, because,
We're
when
not
you go to the
everybody.
city of Austin, lanes are tighter, speed limits are lower. Because the city of Austin has urban and suburban standards. Travis County doesn't. Travis County is a county that they believe in all the roads are supposed to be wide to just move traffic. They don't, philosophically, like, they just don't have like the idea of like, well, roads are for people. No, roads are for cars for them. So
It's a residential area.
they don't see that like that,
right.
but it's a right of way.
Right.
That they don't see outside of the right of way, they see the right of way. And their job is to move cars within the right of way.
Right.
As fast as possible.
Kind of goes back to what he had said earlier about those.
Who put up the orange signs? There's orange signs on right over there. Going after Solaria Drive on Colton Bluff, there's orange signs that say 41 with construction ahead.
So the warning, the construction signs, that's us, that we have to do as part of our construction, like, as part of our like warning signs, it's like.
I think it's a detour or something like that.
Yeah.
I think technically,
On the other side, it's say 30 miles an hour.
Like the orange sign, I had to get that approved. It had to go to court. It went to commissioner's court. It got approved. Like it took 3 years to put up that orange sign.
and that's temporary for construction. We're not trying to make
Yeah.
light of this. I'm telling you, like, we can't put up signs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, there was one time where somebody put up a no parking sign over there next to the food trucks over there. And they kind of put it up because they're like, I don't think people should park here, so I'm just gonna put up a no parking sign. They did that and the sheriff was in my office 2 days later saying, hey, you know who put up that sign there? And I was like, I don't know. I might have known. I was like, I don't know. And he was like, cool. Well, we noticed it go up and that's illegal. So go ahead and rip that down because whatever. So like, I'm telling you, any signs in right away, we are using every tool that we possibly can. I'm not kidding when I say they respond to homeowners on this.
Yeah.
That way more than everybody thinks that we have this big developer muscle.
said that, the HOA can put up something.
Was it Menard? Was it
Raul.
Which, so like, we know all these people.
We're gonna take more questions. Come see us afterwards if you have names, because we wanna be able to.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, 100%, if it's somebody from Travis County and they're saying the HOA can put up signs, they are so full of it. So we'd like to talk to you
Yeah.
afterwards, okay? Like, all right, yes, ma'am. Yep, okay. Mhm. Okay,
You know, it's there, I'll speak.
yep.
And I know you're kind of doing a lot of houses there,
Mhm.
with Brookfield. And I see that the front door
Mm-hmm,
is pretty much 2 hours.
mm-hmm,
And normally, if you have any visitors,
mm-hmm,
you know, they could park in the front and walk to the front.
mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine that they're going to go all around to park on the back of the house in order to walk in the front of the house.
Are you talking about the new bicycle lane? Yeah, that's actually the fire department marshal came over and said, you guys, they cannot, this is a bike lane. They cannot be parking here. I was like, oh, okay. So he put another stripe there and he goes, they're still parking there. They cannot park there. It's not wide enough. Apparently, if the fire truck came down there, they're saying that they can't park there because they don't have enough room. So they made us tell all you guys that you can't park there no more. And Travis County will give you a ticket if you park there.
Yeah. Understand?
Well, then they get a ticket, unfortunately.
That, well, for everybody that has to turn there. And when those houses come in more and more and more, I mean, I see it, people on the other side parks. So of that same street. And I know there is a little room, a little bit more room in the other side of our street. But in that side, we're going to Prospect Park. It's very small and it's just a bike. And then people have already heard, it's like, oh, that's not gonna be a bike lane, it's gonna be a parking lane. And it's gonna be an issue. I'm just bringing it up
Oh,
because it's thank you so much.
thank you.
Right. And my second thing I want to mention is the Prospect Park. The plants are dying there. Is that what you mentioned about having a sprinklers problem?
Specifically where?
When you go down the path going down, all of the plants there are kind of really dry. And sometimes I feel like going there with a bucket of water.
Like specifically where?
Where the kids play.
Yeah,
And you're going down, all the way down where you guys fixed it at the bottom part where the big stones are,
Yeah.
that the water comes through, which came out really nice. That whole area that you go down, not where the wild plants are, is where everything is.
yeah, so there was a lot of, there was a lot of dieback, in a lot of those, beds, so. Was it 2 years ago? We had a blight of yucca bugs that came through and smoked a lot of the softleaf yuccas. So it's a little invitation, a bug that came through, they eat the core, and by the time that we recognized it, a lot of them were toast. What we ended up doing, actually, if you walk down it again, we did come back in and plant a lot of smaller red yuccas. Give it some time to mature. It was a very similar planting strategy that like what we did along McKinney Falls. Went in small, allowing plants to mature over time, but a lot of those beds, inside the past like 3 weeks, just recently got filled back.
There's also a lot of blonde ambition, which is this one plant that we use like nonstop around here. And then we found out later that it has like a 3-year shelf life, like on purpose. It's kind of genetically made that way so that,
It's nice.
so it's one of those things where it's like, we're now ripping that all out and we're replacing it with that. It's just time, like literally it's over the entire community. So there's only a limited budget of how much we're going back in and replacing it with all the stuff that's gonna
So it's
last.
not sprinkler problem.
No, and we have a game.
There might be
plan.
sprinkler part of some spots, so we can look at those.
A lot of the empty beds that we have around the community, we have a game plan to like fill them in. It's just gonna take some time.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
The new dog park.
Yeah.
Divided into like areas for small and large dogs or just one big space.
Right now, it's just one big space.
Yeah, that was just one big.
Yeah.
The question was about the new dog park
Yes.
at Union Park West Park, if it was going to be one large area or two spaces designated for small and large dogs.
I have one question online real quick, if we want to throw that in there, because I hadn't heard this one. Has Easton Park talked about the location of the proposed Austin Public Library, far southeast library site? Have you heard of that?
I did not know that was a thing. The question was, there's a Austin library site. No one has approached us about it, so we're not aware that that's
Okay, not
a
aware.
desire from the city of Austin.
Well, and then also like sometimes like we might not also be like the perfect candidate for it because we are in the limited purpose. We're not full purpose city of Boston. So sometimes you can't use you can't use those tax dollars in the limited purpose. So we might have to go in full purpose.
So
City of
like
Boston.
Chat Metro's on our western side, but they're not in Easton because technically they can't run their buses on our property.
Keep it up first. I'll get to you. Yes, sir.
When it's phase 4, was this COVID, it's the, like,
Facebook. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, phase 4 Coda Vista, we have to build all of Slaughter first. Once we build part of Slaughter, then we decommission some other roads, then we allow phase 4 to go in. So it's probably 3.5, 4 years away. Probably being open.
Permitting it though. I'm working on it.
Working on it now.
quick question. So behind the Dutch Brothers in Canada, building up something else, anybody know what that is?
So it's a question of what's behind Dutch Brothers, and the answer is, I don't know, that is not my property.
No,
Yeah.
Panda Express and it's a Panda Express and then a dentist office.
Pan Express.
Panda Express and then a dentist office.
So what do you think was it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can appreciate the new pickleball court that's being,
Mhm.
built. Is there any plans to install a reservation system or anything of that nature? Because I know a lot of Easton Park, community members play there, but a lot of people outside of this area play there as well. So I'm just, wondering if there's a reservation system,
We're,
plan.
so a lot of our parks are public parks. And that is part of being in the ETJ, being under a PUD, is that we're gonna dedicate a lot of our park spaces public and open, which means we can't put it behind a gate. There are sports courts going in on the south amenity that we are gonna put behind a fence so that they are for Easton only. But most of our pickleball courts, these two and some of the future ones we got coming, they're all gonna be in public parks, which means there's not gonna be a reservation system for us because they're open to people outside of Easton. That is the way that this whole thing was zoned back in 2013 was all that there's going to be all these public parks and they're going to be operated by, they're operated by us, but we're under the rules of the city of Austin.
You know, right now this goes towards the maintenance of these pickleball courts,
That's correct.
but it's open to the public.
That's correct. Just the same way as if you live in Austin, you would pay taxes to Austin and guess what they would do? Maintain public parks. It's the same thing. It's just a different bucket of money over here. And then if we ever get annexed into the city, then Cohere would stop maintaining them and then you'd start paying city of Austin taxes to the Parks Department and it would still be public. So
If these work gets annexed into Austin, is there a potential of that, or is it potential?
there is a potential of it. Everybody says that's probably 30 years away. Yes, ma'am?
So when people do their yard maintenance.
Yes.
is part of that, is trees and shrubs included in that?
As far as them needing to maintain them?
Yes.
Yes.
So like if they're hanging on the sidewalks and you smack your face into the tree?
If they're hanging over the sidewalks, that is a right of way, like ADA issue. And yes, so both City of Boston and Travis County both dictate that and the HOA. So like if you see that, let the HOA know. And then,
Trees in people's yards that you know have never been trimmed.
yeah.
And hang over the sidewalks.
So for trees, like you have to have a head clearance of 8 feet and for the right of way, it has to be 14 feet. So if you feel like, you have branches that are starting to encroach, let the county and let the HOA know.
Yeah, I'd let the HOA know because then Chris Sandoval
We'll let Chris know.
will send something out. That
Well,
does that enforcement.
comments you mentioned before, inside the fence and outside of the fence, so
Mhm.
is there ever a plan to have a pickleball court inside? the
Yes.
fence? And when is that?
That's part of the Southside Amenity Center plan. Like we do.
Which
have-
is? Dates.
2029?
Oh, wait, sorry, pickleball.
Pickleball, right now, there's no
No,
pickleball.
no.
Next pickleball is also gonna be in a public park. We're looking for other sports courts.
Yes,
So right now, not reservable pickleball.
but working on it. Like it's definitely on like
Yeah.
future amenity spaces.
Yep.
Yes, reservable pickleball is a target of ours. Like we, like, yeah,
Sure.
yes.
Yes.
Is there any timeline on a panda?
On the what?
Panda, Panda Express.
That's not our
timeline.
I don't,
We
I don't,
don't have
and I don't stay close enough with that PM to know what the timeline is on the Panda Express. All right, you boys, what's that?
Probably like 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
But is there a general master plan for how we're gonna develop the land south of Slaughter? And is there any opportunity for presidential input? So, you know, I
So the question is there any opportunity for residential input to what's south of Slaughter? And is there a plan for south of Slaughter? So is there a plan for south of Slaughter? Oh, yeah, there is. It hangs in my office. We got a long way to go. We got half of this place to build. Residential input, the question would be, what kind of input and to what? Are we talking commercial? Are we talking the amenities? We're talking street shape? What part? No, I'm not trying to make fun. Like what's,
all of the above in terms of living in this part of Easton Park, we
Mhm.
see so many issues that I'm sure we try to hire the best engineers, but there's still problems.
Mhm.
So kind of just like a community input of, hey, can we highlight these things? Or if people have previous experience, civil engineering, whatever, just suggestions, just something that some process to come across, you know, more complete.
if you send a legitimate note to Colleen, to the HOA, it'll get to me. And if it's something that we're just like, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. There's a good chance that we don't reply back to you like, thanks for your comment, you're absolutely right. If you bring up something that's right, we just steal it from you. A lot of times we get a lot of like, why don't you do it this way? And we're like, for these 8 reasons, blah, 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 blah. And so you don't always get the response back, this is why or why not. But I mean, the thing is, if you send something to the HOA that says, hey, I got this idea, here's why and stuff like that, it will get back to us and we'll take it into consideration.
Yeah.
And then even generally, like, do we have a basic plan, if they're gonna be more 80-foot lots, or is it gonna be, you know, more?
We have a plan and it's one of those that we roll out phase by phase. And we make sure there's a builder that we want, and things like that and stuff. So larger lots in the future, it's on the table right now. You know, what are our amenities on the table right now? There's a lot of that stuff that's rolling out there, but thing is, as soon as I show a picture to people, then like they take it as the gospel, and a lot of things change every year on what we think. So.
Well,
We are past time, but
Yeah.
we still are able to receive questions anytime at eastonpark@coherelife.com. If you want to come try to pick these guys' brains while they're here, absolutely feel welcome to do so, but we'll go ahead and close the meeting at this time.
yeah, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone. Yeah.